Alex officially in?
Out.
Oh, what happened there?
Had his foot stepped on last game. Got treatment yesterday. Tried to do a little bit of shoot around. I think he was bothering him enough that he just couldn't go.
Wow. Day-to-day thing?
Yeah, I hadn't heard that it was anything, too serious. But I think he had his foot stepped on. But again, I don't want to misspeak. I didn't even ask him that because he was trying to play today.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
what it
didn't
looked like,
even,
a shoot around.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even, so the day-to-day question, I don't know, just because I know he was trying to play today.
Got it. And not to dominate this, but I got two more about Javon Carter. You said last game, obviously, that was a matchup situation because of Orlando's length. But in general, his role is lesser than maybe a lot of people, certainly me, expected this season. What has gone into that, do you think?
One is I think that we need Javon to shoot, when he has opportunities to. I think that helps, our team. That's what he's really elite at. I think the other part of it is his ability to pick up full court and to do some of those things. And then to be honest, there's been some situations where he's gotten into rotation in the first half, but the way the game has gone, in some of the second half, the rotations have gotten a little bit smaller and have kind of gone with some other guys. The thing I respect about him is, I think like any one of these guys, they always want to be out there playing. And he always keeps himself ready. Some of it's really just been more my decision in some of those second halves. But outside the last game, for the most part, he's been in the first half. It's just the second half with the way things have gone, whether it's playing bigger, doing different things, it's probably, bled into some of his minutes there.
And you always talk about how you have an open door policy. Has he come to talk to you about his role at all?
Yeah, we talk all the time, and I think he wants to, figure out ways even for himself where he can, find more opportunities to shoot the basketball. And I think the thing for him too is, and I've talked about this, I just think this is for players in general, reading closeouts, and a guy that's not playing with great length and size, and someone big's closing out, him reading those situations. But like we've talked, he's been great to talk to and great to work with. He's all about the team. Like I said, I think any one of these guys wants to be out there playing, but we do communicate quite a bit and talk quite often.
Do you tell guys what they need to do of why they're not getting playing time? Does the talks, when you talk about that open door policy, do the talks ever get to that?
It's probably more of my decision of why, and sometimes, quite honestly, Joe, it's nothing the player can do. There's players that are there, and the opportunity hasn't presented itself. A lot of times, sometimes I can't give them anything to say, listen, if you do, A, B, C, this is going to get you more playing time. Now, certain situations that happens, but sometimes if I'm making a decision, I'll tell them, hey, listen, you may be out of the rotation tonight, and I talked to Javon about that going into the Orlando game just because of the length and size that they were going to play with, and I just thought we needed maybe a little bit bigger lineup out there. And that was me passing judgment on Javon. It wasn't like Javon was like, hey, I can't do that. Right. I just felt like that was the best thing for our team at the time. But I talked to those guys, and so, like I said, some situations say, hey, listen, your minutes have been cut because I need more of this from you. And sometimes it's like, listen, I made a decision. This is what I thought was best for the team.
I know you talk to the front office a lot too. Have they asked you, like, look, this is one of the guys we stumbled out of free agency right away to get. Why isn't he being used more or anything like that?
No, I mean, they have not done that at all. Like I said, I think the fortunate part for, I think, our team is, I think Javon wants clarity, which I respect, of like, hey, what is it? So when I go to him and say, hey, listen, for Orlando as an example, this is kind of what I'm thinking, this is what I'm doing, here's why. He's like, great, I appreciate the heads up. And he kind of moves on, and again, is he happy with that? Probably not.
Right.
But, he's always professional in terms of dealing with him. And I think he just wants more direct talk. He likes that a lot better. We're very direct with him. And that's what I try to do with him, is be very honest and clear as best I can.
Billy, with Alex out,
Yes.
with Alex out, obviously you can't replace what he brings, but How do you manage that? Patrick, how minutes were already in the 40s last game for Orlando.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to provide, more opportunity for some of these other guys. We talk about Javon, like I got a lot of confidence in Javon in terms of keeping himself ready. He's not a guy that's going to pout and sulk. He's going to work, be ready. It gives more opportunity for Dalen, more opportunity for Julian. There's going to be some of these younger guys who have to absorb and handle, more of that responsibility. I think the one thing is I feel like we've moved, I don't want to jinx it, but we've moved into a better position, I think, with Torrey as it relates to his minutes, where some of that stuff's been lifted when he first came back. But listen, I mean, I think young players always want an opportunity to play, and when the opportunity's there, they gotta try to make the most of it, and I think those young guys have done a good job of keeping themselves ready. I don't think it's from a lack of work. If one of them didn't perform well or play well, it wouldn't be like, hey, this guy's not prepared, he's not coming in, he's not getting extra work in when he's been out of rotation, he's pouting. Like, none of that stuff's gone on. This has been a good, really, really, the younger guys have been a really, really good group. That they're a working group. They try to put the work in.
Have Julian and Dalen given you reasons to be confident in them? Have they shown you enough yet?
Sometimes it's, and I said to Joe, it's not them per se. Sometimes it's the number of guys that are ahead of them. Like when we're whole, with Alex, with Torrey, with Patrick, there's three guys sometimes at that power forward spot. So sometimes the opportunity doesn't present itself. Even sometimes in the backcourt, where when Zach was healthy. With Kobe and Io and Javon, sometimes the opportunities didn't present itself. For Dalen. When you have a roster of 13, 14, 15 guys, somebody's going to be out of the rotation. You're not going to be able to play 10, 11 guys, just not. And there's been some games, clearly you guys have watched it, where we've gotten off to slow starts, and I've tried to do some different things to try to generate some energy. And whether it been Terry coming in and providing a spark, or Dalen providing a spark, they've done that. So it's not like the confidence level's not there. It's just that there's probably some guys that are just ahead of them in the rotation that are probably getting the opportunity to get in before they have.
Coach, the most improved player, Kobe's name is in the mix certainly, along with Jalen Johnson, maybe Shane Green of Houston. What you've seen of Atlanta with Jalen Johnson, why has he been able to take a jump from last year to this year?
Quinn's probably better at answering that, but just based on what I've seen, with my view of it, of watching them and him, is always gifted athletically, good motor, really, really, really explosive. How do you find a way to get that into the game inside of what they're doing? And he's been, I think, really effective, doing that. Whether it's out in transition, he's really, really good offensive rebounding. I think he's gotten much, much better setting pick and rolls and slipping out, sometimes setting and getting into the pocket and quick rolls to the rim. And when he gets into the paint with space, he's so athletic, he's very, very hard to handle at the rim. I think those are probably things that I've seen him grow in, that maybe he wasn't doing maybe a lot of those things earlier on, and he's doing a lot more of that now.
Billy, one more about Dale and Julian.
Go ahead.
Not that they're obviously very different. They're not the same player, but we kind of group them a little bit in the sense they're like the young, raw, and they just need to get experience.
Right.
Is there one of those two though, guys, from your estimation, a little bit ahead of the other defensively? And again, they don't play the same position.
Yeah, I think there's things that happen in the game for both those guys that, as young players, happen that they're going to get better from through experience. I wouldn't say this guy's better than this guy at his position. He's, I wouldn't say that. I think the biggest issue for both those two guys that they've got to continue to work at is the discipline of not fouling. There's too many times they're fouling on plays where there's no need to foul, and guys are getting baited into reaching in, and guys are pulling through, and there's 2 free throws. And I'm not saying it happens all the time, but like those would be things. Shot fake discipline, guys are driving into the lane, and you're in between them and the basket, and these shot fakes, and you're jumping through those would be things that because there's things that they've always kind of hung their hat on athletically,
right.
And now as you make that next step, there's just different things that they're going to learn. But those would be things. But I wouldn't say that Julian's ahead or Dalen's ahead. I say that.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
guys,
Beth.
thank